pork ribs to sit in the refrigerator for 4 hours or overnight. In our case it was 4 hours. And now they're looking really good. They've had a chance to steep themselves in our rub. And here they are right now. I just took them out of the refrigerator. And here's our nice 4-pound packet of pork ribs, like so. And there's that nice rub that we created earlier that's had the opportunity to stay on the surface like that and become part of that meat. The flavors all blending in there. And it's going to give it a nice tangy, spicy flavor. Now in order to cook it, which is the second step we have to do in the oven for 3.5 to 4 hours, what we have to do is wrap it in a double layer of aluminum foil, which we're going to do right now. And then the oven back here is preheating to 200, and you let it sit there for its time, and then that delicious concoction has an opportunity to bake in there even further prior to the time that we put it on our charcoal grill. So to do that, we're going to take our aluminum, and we figure out like so that it's about that long, and we need double aluminum on both sides. So I'm looking at that, keep following about that. I'm going to eyeball this like so. A nice long piece for our convention here. Whoop, if I can keep it off the floor. And I did. Okay, shiny side in. Going to take our meat like so. Start folding it like this so that we get a double layer of aluminum foil as is called for in our recipe. Just like that. Sort of like folding a blanket. And there we got a double layer right there. Oh, I got too much. I'm going to tear that off then. We don't need that extra. This here can be recycled though, just in case you didn't know. And that goes like so. And now what you do with this nice rack of pork ribs is you crimp the edges like this. And you see how I'm doing that? And that way the steam will stay inside so that when it's becoming fall off the bone tender, this is what helps it to do that. And it helps keep that flavor in. I mean, there's going to be a little steam released, but just not very much. You want to minimize that. And there's your nice roast ready to go in the oven. And you don't need anything fancy in the oven. You just put it in something there that isn't going to leak too badly. And this won't leak that badly either. So I have a nice cookie sheet right here. And this is here. And we take our little packet of pork goodness that we've already created like so. Follow it along with how it got there. Like this. And into our preheated 200-degree oven for between 3.5 and 4 hours before the next step. Alright, well here we are again, and on Cooking with Max, and as we already started, we boiled our ribs. We took a few of them. We, at great labor, cut them up and got them all split up and everything, and we're going to put those on the grill as well, but with a slightly different recipe. Unlike the rub, we made a nice kind of a, not a marinade per se, but a coating that's sticky and sweet and very thick. And we boiled our chopped ribs over here, and they're all done now. And we're going to drain them now and prepare them to cook as well. So I'm going to go get them over here. It's been about 20 minutes. They've been sitting on the stove for a little while on no heat. And I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like. See how much oil you got floating on top. So that's all the stuff that you're not going to eat by doing it this way. Of course, you know, some people would claim that you lose a little of the flavor when all that goes down the sink. But either way, it's quicker this way. You know you're going to cook the bone. It's a lot more fail-proof if you do it like this. If you cook it raw on the grill, it takes some time and you got to cook it low. So anyway, I'm pouring it into the strainer right now. Big chunks of man meat right there. Nice pork ribs that are reboiled up. They're virtually done cooking. Not quite though. Now, here's what I'm going to do. This may be considered blasphemy by some people, but I'm just going to rinse them with hot water real quick, just to get a little more of that stuff off. And that's it. Now they're ready to go. Ooh, that's pretty hot. Alright, I'm going to put it like so. Just take my strainer right on out of there, like this. my nice ribs. I'll put them over here. And I have a nice Corel bowl to put them in, and I'm going to just plunk them in there. They look a little gray right now, but you'll cook them on the grill and they'll perk right up. And again, like I told you, these will go on the charcoal grill with the other meat. And they'll cook until they're done. And you kind of eyeball it, right? There shouldn't be any pink blood or anything like that coming out. You want your ribs to be cooked. You don't want to overcook them though. You don't want to overcook them. You don't want to overcook chicken. It just turns it dry and lathery. But I think we've got a ways to go. And we'll put these on there. And then for the last 2 minutes of the cook cycle for these pre-boiled ribs on our charcoal, we're going to put on this here, the concoction that we made earlier that includes dark molasses and honey, and there's the little sesame seeds floating on top, and it had some brown sugar in it as well. And then for that Asian flair, kaboom, we put a little bit of ginger in there as well, as I described before. And so in the last 2 minutes of cooking these ribs on your charcoal grill, you're going to drizzle that over it so that it gets on there and it becomes a nice sticky, gooey, flavorful mess when your guests pick it up with their napkin and eat it later on. Alright, well here we are at the stove, and we have on the top burner the water which is going to cook our tricolor rotini, which we're going to use for our pasta salad to go along with our ribs. And we're kind of multitasking because we're doing that at the same time. I'll put those in a second. But in the meantime, it's been almost 4 hours, about 3 hours and 40 minutes that our chipotle rubbed pork ribs are in the oven, and they have to come out now. They've been on 200 degrees with the seasoning that we talked about, and this particular is the chipotle one that I got, and now they're all ready to come out for the next step of the cooking. So I'm going to open this up, and we had wrapped them in the nice aluminum foil to seal that in there and to get the nice juices cooking back on itself. And here it is, our little creation that now we're going to bring over here, and we're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes. And from here, we take it right to the grill. And by doing it this way with a nice pork rib like this, and we kept the ribs together, we could have cut them, but in this case we kept them together, we're going to get a nice pull off the bone tenderness for these ribs, and they're going to be nice and juicy. And because of that chipotle chili flavor and all the other flavors that we put in there, they've saturated into that whole meaty mess, and they're going to be just delicious. But the last step awaits us, which is the grill, the charcoal grill, which will impart a little further flavor and a final kind of texture that will come from cooking it there. And we'll go to there next. Nice 3-color. You can use just plain yellow. Tastes the same. Actually, it tastes a little different. I think the green one here is probably spinach, and the orange one, I don't know if it's carrot or not. It may have a different flavor. I really don't know. Anyway, bonsoir. Off the noodles go into our water to get boiled up and soft. And into there, a lot of chefs will put a little bit of olive oil. Which I have right here. Just a drizzle. I don't even know if it makes any difference. When you're from this area, the water that comes out of your tap is soft water anyway. I think part of the reason for adding oil is to soften your water, but our water's already soft. But I don't know, maybe I'm just superstitious. Maybe I just keep adding it because that's what I've been told my whole cooking life. Well, alright then, we've given our meat an opportunity to settle down. It's about 15 minutes out of the oven now, and boy does it smell good. And as you recall, at the same time we put on our 3-colored rotini that we were going to use in our pasta salad. So I'll go over there and do that real quick, and then we'll have a look at our meat and see how good it looks. It sure does smell delicious. We'll get our pasta. I got it all, it's all nice now, a little bit al dente, not too much. But I'm going to strain that for now. Just put it right there in that strainer. Just drain off all that water. Nice. Oh, looks good. You can see over here in the back here, I've got several of the other ingredients that I'm going to be using in my pasta salad, and we'll rinse those off in a little minute when we're doing that part of it. But for now, I want to get back to our nice ribs, our nice pork ribs, and they smell good. And let's have a look at what they look at now. They've cooled off, so they're easy to handle. And you see just how pretty those are. They really truly do fall off the bone tender. Let's take a little knife right here, and I'm just going to use a butter knife. And let's see how much we can pull that meat off of there with just a butter knife. And you see, it's pretty tender. It's not quite fall off the bone tender though, but it's definitely tender, and it definitely looks good. And it's fully cooked as well. The part that we're going to do, the very final part of cooking these pork ribs up, is that we're going to put them on our charcoal heater. Now that the charcoal heater is out there getting all warmed up, it is very hot temperature, and the flavor that the charcoal adds as well is going to finish these off. We're going to go about 7 or 8 minutes on either side. Just put that whole thing right on top of our grill, and just after 7 minutes, plunk it on there, get the other side, and then it's done. We take it off of there, and we'll just hold it down and take a knife and just cut off nice big meaty chunks for our meat-eating man friends here in Mantown, and they'll all get a little sample of it with that beautiful chipotle flavor that's been baked in, and all the other special secret to everyone but you ingredients that I used when I started marinating this meat some time ago. But now that this is at a nice temperature, and by the way, this part of it, baking it in the oven for 3.5 to 4 hours, is something that you could have done ahead of time. You could have had this nice big piece of meat ready to go, so that all you had to do was put it on the grill for the last 15 minutes if you wanted to. But as it happened, I just took this out of the grill and allowed it to cool off for enough time. But I'm going to put it on, let me get rid of this aluminum, and I'm going to put it on this nice glass surface here that I'm just going to use it to transport it to the grill. And then later on, when I'm ready to serve it, I'll cut it into pieces that are easier to serve up. And there it is. Look at all that grease that we are going to be doing without, since we pre-cooked it the way we did. And we certainly don't need that, although it does smell good. And that's it. So the next step is we'll whip up our nice pasta salad that goes with our meat, because we're not just going to eat meat, even though sometimes we're tempted to in Mantown. And we're going to also take our pork ribs out there to the Barbie and put them on there for the coup de grace, the final step. And we'll see you back then. Alright, welcome back to Cooking with Max, and here we are in Southbridge, Massachusetts, like we always are on Cooking with Max, right here in the Shetucket-Quinnebog corridor, which is home to the great blue heron for the last 14 million years and other things as well. And if you're from Lexington, Kentucky, you certainly can't say that you're from the Shetucket-Quinnebog corridor, but here you are in Southbridge, and you are. But besides all that, we're going to make our pasta salad right now, and we have our ingredients right back here, and we're going to get started on that because we have to refrigerate it before we serve it. So the first thing we're going to do is take our 3 cups of 3-colored rotini that we boiled already to be al dente, and they're right here. And we're going to fish out 3 cups. This is a very easy recipe for all you men out there that are like to cook in a hurry, and they like to cook and entertain, but they don't want to spend too much time cooking. You see that? That's about 3 cups of it, and that's going in our salad. I have some extra here of it,